And our disclaimer is that this is for educational and informational purposes only, full stop. All investments involve risk. So before you invest, before you follow anybody, make sure that you understand the inherent risks in that investment. Intellectual property, we have registered marks, trademarks, copyrights, as well as patents on everything you're about to see. So please ask us before you reproduce it and cite Market Rebellion. There's another beautiful sunset here in Costa Rica. We're out on the Papagayo Peninsula, and it is gorgeous. And the nights and the temperature is just about perfect. So I encourage anybody who wants a great restful vacation to check it out. As far as anybody who might still be in the Pinterest calls along with me, end of December, we talked about February 70 calls being bought, big numbers, up to $7. I'm in those. Today, those calls move up with the stock now trading at 73-ish, I think. These calls are now up $2.65 from that $7 high. So in other words, bang, it's a good time perhaps for those of us who do such things to start selling calls against the long calls that we own. And as you recall, when we saw this, the stock was 66. So I already own a lower strike call and have sold a higher strike call. For those of you who haven't, I would just let you know that you'll have about 4 weeks for the markets to keep going. Hopefully they do for you if you're in these Pinterest calls. But I will remind you that you're in the steep part of the decay curve, so it might be a good idea to either A, take profits, or B, start loading in some calls against your calls, cut your ownership cost, lock in some of the gains that you've got. That's what I am doing. Bang. If you'd like to learn more about doing exactly what I just described, then perhaps you should go to marketrebellion.com/get started. That is marketrebellion.com/get started. We can get you started in crypto. We can get you started in stocks, options, futures, you name it. We can help you learn about these without paying for that tuition with hard dollars in bad trades. We can instead show you how you can move the odds into your favor at marketrebellion.com/get started. Unusual option activity for today, the 21st of January, as I was broadcasting from down here in beautiful Costa Rica. Snap. Well, January double nickel calls. These calls expire tomorrow. As you see there, they bought about 8,000 on the 14th, bought a small amount the 15th. Then we came into Tuesday this week. They started buying them again. And today they've really aggressively bought these calls, betting perhaps that they can push Snap to a new all-time high. Got some upgrades today. There is Snap right now pushing to 54.24. As you see, the high is 57.39. That is the 52-week high. And the market cap, a bustling $80.8 billion. Remember when this thing was single digits? I do. Anyway, it's been a great ride for them. They're doing, I think, a great job over at Snap. And I still have calls in here that I am working on into tomorrow. By the way, our YouTube channel is, if you go to YouTube and you type in Market Rebellion into the search bar on YouTube, that is Market Rebellion into the search bar on YouTube, you can subscribe. It is completely free. You would get all of Pete's The Take. You would get all of my 3 at 3s and podcasts. It's a great way to stay in touch, stay on top of the information as it comes out, and it is completely free. We are within, I think, just a few hundred of 10,000 subscribers to that now. So please consider it, and we'll be giving some prizes away once we hit that milestone. Thank you. Viacom. So Viacom CBS, which is VIAC, the March 50 calls bought. These are options that are out there 2 full months into the future. I own these calls. They will expire on the 19th of March at that 50 strike. This is a look at where Viacom is, $45, not anywhere near 50 right now. Would I consider buying the 50s? Of course, but I am instead buying the 45 calls and selling strikes above it, 1-to-1. As long as you do that, call vertical spread, folks. Owning the 45 strike, for instance, selling the 50 strike, I have no additional risk, and I have cut my risk of time decay and volatility compression dramatically by doing that. Just giving you a little advice. Here's Voyager. This is that company that Pete and I are investors in. It is a publicly traded company on the Venture Exchange in Canada. They have grown like a weed, and we've got Bitcoin Miami coming our way next week, folks. My friend Mo Levin runs that. He does a great job. There'll be a fabulous lineup of speakers. I'll have more for that on that for you shortly. But Voyager is the company that I trade crypto through. When I'm trading for myself, I think this is a fabulous way to own crypto or any of 50 other digital assets, commission free. It is truly crypto made easy. Check out Voyager when you get a chance. I think you'll love it, whether you trade it through an iPhone like this, or whether you trade it on a Android device. They have it on the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. And now for Ford. Ford making a 7% move today. It's up to 1161. Very nice move here. Again, they're buying out of the money calls, about $1 out of the money. You could elect to buy those, or you could buy something closer to the money, like 1150s, for instance, and sell a higher strike against it, 1-to-1. Why do I do that? Because I move the odds into my favor each and every time I do that, which is why I love doing it. There's the stock. It was at 1161. It's now 1167, virtually the same price. And as you see, we've been up over 12 already today. So I've had a chance to sell a few calls against the calls that I bought at the 1150 strike. Not advice, just letting you know that that's how one pro trader decided to trade it. All right, let's get some questions. I am that guy at Jon Najarian, or at the number 3 _ UOA. That's for all our friends listening on Sirius Satellite Radio. Lumen and Exalta. All right, John Tanks, and his handle is at JOHN Tanks 2. He says, John, Pete, what are you guys thinking of the Lumen and Exalta call from the other day? Thank you. Still like Lumen a lot. I think it goes higher. Still like Exalta, although this one has not been working. And there's not a lot you could do because the stock was 30.5 when we got into it. The 31 calls. I own the 30s. I've sold the 32s, but this one's not really working, Exalta. Lumen has been moving up. So at some point, I may have to cut the loss in Exalta, but I'm giving it a little more room, a little more play on that fish, and then we'll see what happens. But thank you, John, for that question. Let's talk about Lyft, LYFT. Tough price action with a positive tape. True. We have some time, but yeah, Lyft not working either. And Paul, I'm more than willing to take the heat. Paul's handle, by the way, is at PDanYSEARCA. And yeah, Paul, Lyft not really working so well on a back and forth tape. So if we have to cut this one, then we have to cut it. That's what I do. If a stock's not working, I'll cut it, move on to the next trade. I might even jump right back into another Lyft trade if we get another reading. That reading I thought was pretty good the other day, but it has not panned out yet, Paul. SEC ears. So this is coming to us from at Sunny505ABQ. All right, Sunny505ABQ asks, I've always wondered if there's heavy unusual option activity or fire, it probably means somebody somehow knew something, ? Especially when there's no news. In your experience, how often does this perk up the SEC's ears? Quite often. It depends on how large the move is. In other words, Sonny, sometimes it is that unusual activity is because people saw a brokerage note before it came public and they bought in before that note hit First Call, Bloomberg, CNBC, or whatever, in which case that's not insider trading. The cases that make you scratch your head and the cases that I'm sure perk up the SEC's ears are when the SEC has an opportunity to say, you know what, that's just a little too coincidental. You bought those calls 2 days later, the stock was taken over. That might be a little too coincidental. I guarantee they delve deeper into the buyers and the reasons behind that purchase, as well as if they have any relationship to anybody on the board of either company. So that's a great question, Sonny. Thank you. Play hard. This is from Steve McDaniel, which is at SMCDANIE. And he says, Steve does, at Pete, at John, at 3@3_UOA. I love the brothers that work together. Pete has the week off from CNBC, and John is working on vacation in Costa Rica. Thanks, guys, so much for everything. Well, thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure. It was a challenge, but the people down here at the Four Seasons made it easy. The firewall presented some issues, but once we got around that, it was all easy and fun, and I just love this place. I'd love to come back, but thank you. What does the coati say? And those are coatis, folks. They look an awful lot like raccoons. They are members of the raccoon family. You can see a little bit of that in both the fur, the pattern, and maybe even the face. And they have little hands or little paws, look sort of like hands, and they do a lot of washing and things like that, like a raccoon would do. So they're related, and there are tons of them down here, especially since, sadly, during the lockdown, this place was closed for months, and the coatis kind of took over, I hear, as well as some of the howler monkeys and some of the others. Even a puma was sighted around here on the property. But now they've all gone back to where they usually stay, but we see a lot of them walking around the properties, especially as dusk comes. And that is a picture of dusk on the way, because that's a beautiful sunset here in Costa Rica on the Papagayo Peninsula. I hope you enjoyed today's 3 at 3, and if you did, tell a friend. And please subscribe. Go to youtube.com and hit in the search bar Market Rebellion, and then you can subscribe, and you'll always get these when we do a fresh one every day. Thank you for joining me, folks. You can learn more about Market Rebellion by going to marketrebellion.com/UOA. That is marketrebellion.com/UOA. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to being back with you here tomorrow for more unusual option activity. #UOA. Bang. A little applause for my wife over here, just because she wants to go out on a walk.